Rev up your engines!
Well, there's only one pickup truck that's not recommended by Consumer Reports, and guess what it is? The Toyota Tundra, which used to be one of the best pickup trucks in the world, if not the best pickup truck in the world, for how long it lasts, how strong it is. Well, you know, they went to the V6 twin turbo, and I said, I think it's a stupid idea, and it turns out that the quality control was down, and Consumer Reports even took it off the list. All the other pickup trucks they say buy, but not the Toyotas. The quality was down, the fit and finish was down, which Toyota has to address, and they say they're addressing it. Executive Chief of Direction for the Tundra says, and I quote, "We are aware and heard from customers about the issues. Once each individual issue is flagged, we analyze root causes and implemented corrective countermeasures on the production line within weeks." It's kind of a halfway between what an American would say and what a Japanese. To implement the repairs, this sounds definitely Japanese. The beginning sounded more like American hogwash of, "Oh, thank you for telling us about the problems you're having with the vehicle. We'll work on it," you know? Only at least generally, the Japanese and Toyota especially, they usually do work on and iron the problems out as time goes on, right? Where the Americans are just like, blah, blah, who cares? So make them as cheap as we can so we can make the biggest profit that we can. We don't care, you know? I mean, and of course, they blamed it on supply chain problems, from semiconductor shortages to coronavirus labor shortages and parts that come from all over the place. But really, they should have stuck with the V8s. I don't care. They can blah, blah they want about, oh, semiconductor shortages, blah, blah, blah. No, they should have stuck with the tried and true V8 engine. That's why people like those things. They had power and they ran forever. I think they made a big mistake with that, but, you know, that's companies for you. When they're that big, they can do whatever they want. For the first time, 2023, Consumer Reports is saying, we don't recommend a Tundra. That's the only pickup they don't recommend. So they're still recommending Rams and stuff, and I see them having all kinds of problems, too. So, notch against Toyota, right, but some of their stuff, Consumer Reports, sends a little bit iffy to me. Silverado 1500s, I see them having all kinds of problems, but they still recommend them, so who knows what's behind the scenes on that. I agree with the Toyota Tundra, but I disagree with them recommending these American pickups because most of them are made pretty crappy these days, and if they want to compare them to how long a Toyota's going to last, hey, odds are the Toyota's still going to outlast them. Whether it doesn't look as good and the fit and finish isn't as good. Right. I guarantee you they'll outlast, especially the Rams. They'll outlast now. Lynn Meg says, should I buy high mileage Scion? I'm considering buying an automatic 2008 Scion XB for $2,000. I'm buying it directly from the owner who originally bought it. It has 286,000 mostly freeway miles. Runs and drives smooth. Only issue I can see is the headlights are dim. They often fog up. You can polish them, get a polisher. Just buy aftermarket headlight assemblies for $40, $50 a piece on Amazon. They work perfectly fine. That's what I do with my wife's 07 Matrix, right? 286,000 highway miles can be equivalent to 30-something thousand stop and go driving in the city. So that could be okay. But you want to check this out for sure. It's a Scion. It's 2008. Look at the engine. If it is a 2.4 liter inline four, I probably would not buy it because most of those burn oil. Friend in Tennessee has one that smokes like mad. What you want to do is, it's a very simple test. Go to the back of the vehicle, stick your finger or a piece of paper towel in the exhaust in the back. If it's all black and oily, it's an oil burner. Do not buy it. Now, they don't all burn oil. Some of them had better engines. Some of them had the engines replaced by Toyota free, in which case, then they're fixed and they don't have that problem. But it's a very simple test. Get yourself some paper towel and stuff, stick it, wipe it around, and voila. If it's not black and oily, it's not burning oil. If it is, walk away and don't buy it. Diesel Brian says, I got a rattling sound inside my car. I got an 01 Honda CR-V, 127,000 miles. It rattles when I start the car, and sometimes when I'm idling. What could it be? Well, there's one of two things that generally do that. Often as they age, the catalytic converters will break down inside and they will rattle. Get yourself a rubber mallet, rubber hammer, anything. Go under the vehicle and hit the catalytic converter. If it rattles, it's breaking up inside and you're going to have to replace it eventually because it'll clog up and the car won't be able to run because it's like sticking a potato in exhaust. It'll build the pressure up too much. So that's one thing that you got to think about, right? The other thing that could be, and it often is on those CRVs, is a lot of times the heat shield on the catalytic converter is either rusted or it's starting to come apart. Look at that. If you can grab the heat shield and it rattles, that's where the noise is coming from. Now, a lot of guys just take them off and throw them away. They don't really serve all that much of a purpose. Or if you're worried about starting forest fires, because that's what they're there for, so leaves don't get on a catalytic converter, they hit the heat shield instead, right? You could get another heat shield, or you could weld the old shield back on, or even get like stainless steel radiator clamps, and you could clamp it back on tight so it didn't rattle anymore. That's generally what they do in Hondas. It's not anything really to worry about, but go under there, see what's happening. A lot of times it is just the heat shield, which is very simple to fix. Either tear it off or refasten it back on. Vegas East says, my water pump makes noise in my 2014 Toyota Sienna V6. I bought it used. It has 32,000 miles on it. And the dealer says, oh, it needs a water pump. And they say it's going to cost a ton of money because it's got to drop the engine, jack things up in the air. If I do it myself, what do you think? They're telling you the truth. It's a very bad design for changing the water pump. You have to take half the car apart, then you got to take the motor mounts off, and you have to actually jack the engine up. You don't have to take it out, but you got to jack it up to get enough room. It's a very, very poor design for repair, right? But it's doable if you have jack stands and a jack and a 2x4 piece of wood. You can do it if you want to take it all apart. Even a professional mechanic, it takes them over 6 hours with all their tools to do the job. It's a gigantic pain in the rear end. It's a very bad design, but which is kind of bizarre because the early Toyotas, I could change a water pump in like 35 minutes. It was easy. But then they put all this crap on top of it and get everything blocked in the way. So even to get it off, you got to jack the engine up in the air. I mean, it's absolutely absurd design from something that was simple to something that was complex. But you could do it. You can take it apart. It's just going to take a really long time. Giddy25 says, is this Lexus worth buying? I'm looking at an automatic 09 Lexus GS350 all-wheel drive for $10,450. I checked it and drove it. The dealer said it was a trade-in, and I wanted the service paperwork, and they said, oh, we don't have any because the previous owners fixed it in their own shop. Is it worth buying? I wouldn't buy it because anybody who owns a Lexus knows if somebody's going to buy it after them, they want service records. Luxury car owners almost always will keep service records. So when they sell it, they can get more money. Now, this has none. The whole thing sounds fishy to me. You know, it's $10,450. You didn't mention the mileage. I'm assuming it's really high mileage. But regardless of the mileage, I would not trust it. If they don't have any records on it, it could be a flood wreck car. Who knows? They don't have any records. They probably don't have any records for good reason. Probably bad things happened in the past. And if they did have a records, they're going to throw them away. Now, if you're really nuts about the car, the first thing I'd say is get a report, like a Carfax or something. They're not 100% perfect, but at least it will show if it was any known big wrecks, and it will show the mileage when it was inspected at the state inspection. They give you that information. Then you can see maybe it really is a crapper, or maybe it was a one owner. Who knows? The whole thing, they have no records at all, fishy. I kind of walk away from that one. Well, if you think the price of electric cars is too high, maybe you want to print one using a 3D printer. There's actually one out there they're working on. It's a UILA electric vehicle, and the people who printed it used a Stratasys F770 3D printer. They printed the little electric car. Now it's little, but it can fit two people. The driver's in the front and the passenger's behind it, right? Now the vehicle itself is named UILI. Make a name. Now, UILI, like Volkswagen. ID.3. What kind of a name is that for a car? What are these people? They got no imagination whatsoever? What stupid names? They give it a name that's got some catch. Oh, I drive a UILA, a UILA. It's ridiculous. Come on, people. Have a little imagination. Well, the vehicle is made in a 3D printer. Now, the thing is, it may be small. It's 7.5 feet long, 2.9 feet wide, and 5.5 feet tall, and it weighs 154 pounds. I've messed with 3D printers, and if you're going to make something even that size, it's going to take a really long time. Things for the kids, little dinosaur toys and stuff. And they may take 5 or 6 hours to make this little thing. Imagine making an entire car. You know, how long that would take. Now, this company claims they're going to use industrial processes to make them bigger and faster and all that. Well, I've heard that from people before. I've seen 3D printing companies. At one point in time, their stock was high flying, $50, $80, $90 a share, right? Now it's $2, $3 a share because people are finding the mass production and 3D printers don't go together. They're just too slow at making stuff. So maybe you want to print your own electric car if you have all the time in the world. And believe me, you will need a lot all the time. But kind of an interesting, cute little thing. I wish they'd give it a real name, though, so people could say, hey, it's a Starburst or whatever, you know? Not UILA. Come on, people. Come up with some imagination. I understand you're engineers and you're kind of nerdy, but really, pay somebody to make a nice name for it if you can't pick one yourself. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.